I forbid you not to go there again. Okay, quickly, if any of you have been taken the daily tests regularly, you should be quickly able to answer this question. Because we saw, and I think it was spotty error only, obviously. We saw one particular spotty error with forbid. Error is in C. Forbid itself means negative, negation, right? So I don't need not again. But I need something to go with there again. So how will I restructure this sentence? I forbid you, something should come here, and then I have there again. So what will you change to go? How will you write to go in this blank? I forbid you. I forbid you to go there again. Is there any other way in which you can write it? I forbid you, not of, from. Right? I forbid you from going there again. That's it. Yes. From going. Yeah. So anyway, the error is in part C. This book is different than that. Okay. Where's the error? This book is different than that book. Basically, that's what it means, right? Here, this is understood from that book. So, where's the error? Quickly, just to let you know, right? Now, we follow the British English, right? So, basically, the difference is what is wrong with different than? And why are we using different from? The difference that you need to know is different from is actually used widely. That's the most common expression, right? And British English follows this. American English follows this. But American English also follows different from, because this is the more commonly used phrase, right? In terms of meaning, there's not much difference between these two. There's really not much difference between these two. One of the differences they say is, when will you use different from is when it is followed by a noun. So here, different from, there is a noun here. That's what is understood, right? Then that book, a noun. So one of the differences they say is different from is used if the sentence that follows is a noun, right? Or a noun phrase, then you use different from. Yeah? Are you following? So let me give you an example quickly. If I say my mother looks different dash that old photograph of her. So the sentence is followed by a noun phrase. Then I use from. Right? When do I use different than? When it is followed by a clause. A clause is nothing but a complete thought, a subject and a verb. So if I say, my brother looks different dash I remember. So after the blank, what is following? This is a clause, right? A complete thought. I have a subject and I have a verb. This is a clause. So when it is followed by a clause, then you use then. This is pretty much the difference between different than and different from. Something that you need to remember. However, like I said, if you are in doubt, just use different from, which is always the right thing. So this book is different than that book, which is a noun. So I'm using different from. The error is in part D. You change then to from. Okay? Finding errors. That's the next set of questions. So let's read. The article suggests that when a person is under unusual stress, you should be especially careful to eat a well-balanced diet. Okay, so option A, again the options are a little mixed up, right? It doesn't start with the article suggests that. Option A is to eat a well-balanced diet, the last part of the sentence. Option B is the article suggests that when a person is under unusual stress. Option C, it says no error. Option D, you should be especially careful. So where do you think the error is? Or if there is an error at all? So why is there an error? So the article is suggesting that when a person, right? Which means they are referring to some person, one person, exactly, right? So because they are referring to one such person and not anybody specific, you can't say you should be especially careful. That's misleading. So it should be one should be, correct, right? So having said that, the error is in part D. In 20 recs, 5 lives were fortunately lost. 5 lives were no error, fortunately lost in the 20 recs. Okay, so where is the error for our second question? Are you able to identify the error? So keeping in mind the context is negative, yes. Lives were lost. So obviously we don't need this positive word. Just have to add the prefix un. It is a funny error. There is a long queue for entry into the exhibition ground. So seems to be a typo error for me. If the option was the same as the question, it would be option B. Otherwise, I don't see any error in this question as such. In fact, if you ask me, right? It can be either there is a long queue or there was a long queue for entry into the exhibition ground. Into the exhibition ground, yes. So you need to, don't literally look at into the exhibition ground as in going into the ground, right? But look at it from the point of for entry into. In the context, yes, what you're trying to get confused is, if I say, I entered into the room, right? In this context, into is redundant. I don't need it, right? Because I entered itself means I entered the room. However, here we're saying for the purpose of entry, where in fact more than into here referring inside that place, right? Into is bringing in the meaning of inside the exhibition. So you don't have to get confused with this. The right, if I have to rephrase the whole thing, I will just say for entry inside the exhibition. I'll rephrase the entire thing and say there is a long queue for entry inside the exhibition or to enter into the exhibition. So I won't say ground. Yeah, that kind of seems very, it doesn't make logical sense. So I would rephrase the sentence saying there was or is a long queue waiting to enter the exhibition, or I would say there is a long queue for entry inside the exhibition, because it's understood the exhibition is a place. So when in doubt, right, because I think it's a typo error, so for confusing questions like this, I would just kind of go ahead and skip the question. I wouldn't want to take a chance.